up, Buttercups? Today I wanted to talk about what I feel is the greatest addiction to ever break. And da 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 that is a trauma bonded love relationship. The reason I say that is the hardest addiction to ever break is if you think about it, any addiction that you have usually is because of a couple of things, maybe a few. But a trauma bonded love relationship, whoo, you are connected by like 30 different little traumas, and your cords are connected with their cords, and it's like a magnetic pull, and that is so hard to just break apart, right? Because it's so interconnected, and it's connected to you at your core wounds. The deepest, darkest fears that you have connect you in this relationship. No wonder there is such great fear to leave it. And on top of it, it has all of the intermittent reinforcement. Really, really, really good times followed by really, really, really bad times. That pleasure, pain dynamic. And it gets you absolutely hooked. And what makes it so hard to also leave, on top of all of this is like the whipped cream and the cherry on top of this sundae, is it's comfortable to you. That type of relationship is comfortable because that person is reflecting to you all of the traumas that you gained in your childhood. So whatever parent dynamic you had, whatever traumas resulted because of the parent dynamic, that person is reflecting back to you. So what do I mean by trauma bond? Trauma is something that you experienced. It doesn't have to be as a child, but most of the time it's when you're a child, when you're powerless and you can't do anything to make a difference. Your parent or a guardian, some type of parental dynamic happened where for an example, let me just give you an example. Some parents feel as though children's voices do not matter, right? They're the parent, they have the ultimate decision-making skills, they know what's best, they're in control, they decide everything. Even if the child decides to want to speak up because he or she doesn't like what the parent has decided or doesn't feel like that's for its best interest, a lot of parents will supersede that, tell the child not to speak up, that some people, you get in trouble. There's discipline introduced sometimes when children don't agree with what their parents say or don't want to do what their parents tell them to do. And so there is whatever it may be. So let's say little Timmy over here had a dad. Okay, so he wanted to be an artist and he wanted to be the next Bob Ross. And his dad owned a construction company and wanted little Timmy to follow in his footsteps and run the construction company because that's what he did. That's what, he took into his father's footsteps, all of this stuff. And little Timmy's just not wanting to do it. Well, the dad may put little Timmy down or explain, that the guilt little Timmy into feeling as though you should take over this business. That's what I did. It's family tradition. This business has been in this family for millions of years, and not quite millions, but And so little Timmy may feel that he is unworthy or that having a job as an artist is unworthy. It is not of value, that he has no value unless he takes over this family business. And so that's a trauma that's introduced. His opinion doesn't matter. His voice doesn't matter. He doesn't know what's best for him. And so little Timmy grows up and then he meets someone that reflects the unworthiness, and they enter into a relationship, and that's not the only trauma that little Timmy has because he's grown up in this type of dynamic where all of these other traumas were introduced. I almost picture like a jellyfish. with all the little strings and another little jellyfish with all the little strings, and your little jellyfish may have 45 little strings and this little jellyfish may have 50, but 45 of them connect together and make this electrical bond that is just impossible, sometimes it feels, to just break apart. Just tough. Excruciating. You don't know how you're going to do it. So how do you break the trauma bond? Well, the very first thing is you even have to be aware that there is a trauma bond that exists between two people. You have to be aware that you're not in this relationship out of love and unconditional love, but rather a bond of things where you came together and you were not healed. The shadow sides of yourself are bonded, and that's why you trigger each other in these sides. You know, these dynamics are so tough because of all of the good times that you have, because they're really, really good. Really, really good. But the bad times are really, really bad, right? And they're not helping you grow. We've been through this in other videos. But you have to become even aware that it exists, that this relationship is not healthy, and that there's things that bond you together that are not secure and not in for your best and highest interest. Once you become aware, you have to go inside yourself and figure out, how can I change this? How can I change? How can I reparent myself? What actions can I take in life that will reverse this trauma that I have, this response that I have to certain things? How can I feel worthy? How can Timmy grow up and think, how can I feel worthy? What can I do to feel worthy? What is my definition of worthy? What does worthy mean to me? And slowly but surely, you gain momentum. You heal one little thing. Next time an issue comes up, you respond differently than you normally have. You tolerate different things, and once you shift, it's automatically going to shift things within the dynamic. And if sometimes you find that a partner heals with you and you heal together and you're able to grow as you go along this path. And then sometimes you find that once you kind of close off those little cords off your jellyfish and pull them back, and you're no longer resonating with someone that's unworthy, and you're not resonating with someone that's a victim all of the time, and you're not resonating with this person falls away. There's no more connections to even hold you together. So, but you have to first even become aware. So if you're watching this video, more than likely you are aware that there are connections between two people. And this happens a lot with the narcissist empath or the false twin flame. It's really trauma bonds that are connecting you. And you can look at the dynamic as an observer. And if you find that you're together, you came together in a time when you weren't healed, that's a good sign that it's a trauma bond. And you're realizing what needs to be healed, and you realize there's a lot, right? And it's overwhelming sometimes, and I understand that, because we're going through times right now where these people are coming into our lives, or we're awakening to realize that all of these things, we don't have our blinders on. I know sometimes when they race horses, they have blinders. We don't have them on anymore. We have those peeled back and we can see, and we're like, this doesn't work with our best and highest good. You know, we were meant for so much more, and each little bond it's almost a weight on you. It's a weight in that little hot air balloon bag that's just keeping you tied down, and you've healed. You need to throw those sandbags over. You're done with that. You're not dealing with that no more. That's in the past. That's not who you are today. And just keep chucking those sandbags, and pretty soon that person is either going to float with you because they've been doing the work too, or they're going to fall away and stay with the weights. They're going to stay tied down, but you're not meant for that. You're meant to fly. So if you resonated with this video, and just give me a thumbs up. And if you have any tips for anybody to get out of these relationships, because they are so hard. That's why I said they're the greatest addiction, because you have those really, really good times coupled with these really, really toxic times. You have that pain and pleasure. That's hard to rip away. That's a really addicting relationship with the ups and downs. And with that many attachments, that's my reason why I think it's the greatest addiction. But if you have any tips or tricks or any advice or just share your story. I love hearing everybody's story. Just comment below and let me know. And I will see you guys on the next video. Mwah.